right now we have in the building, we have Johnny and we have Mr. Samuel B. Ings. And if you don't know, he's actually running for mayor. And Mr. Ings, say hello to the people.
Well, hello, the people of WOKB and throughout all of the United States of America.
Come on. And Mr. Johnny as well, give a little introduction about yourself.
Hey, my name is Johnny Brinson, and I'm president of Deborah Clayton's Bridging the Gap.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. And we're going to talk about this. So let me just give a little bit description. There has been a lot going on in Orlando. Most recent being is the OPD officers who were shot in downtown Orlando. And tonight we have two special guests. One, Samuel B. Ings, running for mayor candidate of Orlando, which we're so honored to have you because we love to see these changes here in Orlando. And we know you're for the people because we got to know you. And this is so important, guys. And also firsthand is like to be an officer protecting the streets of Orlando, who is a retired officer for 30 years with OPD as a commander. And also another special guest is Johnny Brinson, who tragically lost his mom. It's one of the OPD's finest, Lieutenant Deborah Clayton. And I know you guys know this story, what happened here in Orlando. It was pretty horrific, and it was going on for quite some time. In the line of duty is where she got shot and she got murdered. It is determined to have peace on the streets in Orlando. And here is to talk about the foundation and also to start, the momentum of his mom. And he is also making sure his mom is in heaven, continually to protecting us all here in Orlando through the foundation. Thank you so much for being with us. We so appreciate
My
you.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. It's an honor to have you, and I appreciate you being with us and you're trusting us to be here live on air. So thank you so much for that. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, if I may, Johnny.
Yes, ma'am.
The first one is, tell us about the foundation, please.
So basically, her foundation, Deborah Clayton's Bridging the Gap, she created it before she passed away.
Wow.
Yeah, she created it before she passed away, and tragically, she couldn't see her whole dream come into fruition. So, me and my stepfather, Mr. Seth, her husband at the time, decided to reactivate her nonprofit and continue her dream.
And you took over on that.
Yes, ma'am.
Insane.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. What is exactly the foundation about?
It's about just a lot of officers get a bad rep because a couple bad apples, and all of them are not bad, but
not at all.
Actually officers who are out there to protect and serve, just like Sam Ings.
Come on.
Who care about the community and care about the people in the community, like my mom did, and she just wanted to show that you can bring the community and officers together for a more peaceful community.
And this is real because my dad, I know you don't know this, Mr. Samuel B. Ings, but my dad is an ex-retired military and ex-NYPD.
Oh, wow.
So I don't really speak about it much, but I should because of him is who I am today. And by what I've seen him do serving the community, to this day, everybody loves him. He honestly helps literally everybody. Sometimes we have to tell him to stop and take a break and slow down. He's 60 now, 62. He still does it. He still helps and serves, and he does it for free. He just wants to help people and make sure that they got things going on for them. He trains us on, he could build a house, this man, and he trains us on how to do things for ourselves. So I get it. And there is, and I'm going to say this on air, there is more bad apples there's more good apples than there is bad apples out there in the forest. Right. And it's just the bad gets put out there more, but the good doesn't. Yeah. And this is what we do on Peace on the Streets, is release the goodness, what people are doing, the movement, the change, what they're doing for the communities, because it's us that's making a movement, the people. Not so much Hollywood, even though we love Hollywood. But we are the ones making a change for each other and making a change for our cities. And we want to publicize that and market that. And that's a big deal. And guys, you can make a change yourself. It could take one person to bring in a team and can make this change. So I'm going to go with my next question, if I may, is why do you think it is so important that you continue the foundation?
I think it's been important because it's something she really wanted me to continue. Like, I watched her build it from the ground up.
How old were you, may I ask, when this occurred?
I was 21.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in Tallahassee at the time.
Huh.
Yeah, so when I got the phone call, it was kind of like I was far away. And it was just like everything rushed at once. So I had to take a plane all the way here, just with all the emotions and stuff. But I just kept in my mind, like, what she wanted and her vision that she had, because she was so passionate about it. And it still sticks with me to this day.
That's like, this is, it's a movement, my friend. And that's going to bring a change. And I'm glad that you're out here releasing that so more can understand it, more can get involved, and more can help make this movement. So this is a big deal. What do you wish to tell the listeners about your mom?
She loved her community and she served her community like no other person I ever met in my life.
Wow.
And she had so much faith in her co-workers and her partners at the time. It's hard to put it in words. She was an angel.
God.
And
There are angels here on earth.
yes, they are. And, tragically, some just leave earlier than others.
Yeah.
So she loved this community and she served it with a purpose, and I just want to continue that.
I love hearing the story, behind this. What got you to want to continue though? Like what got you to really, because that's a big role, my friend.
Yeah, I know. Basically, I gave it a couple of years because the court case took like 6 years.
I did. And we still listen to news here or locally in Orlando. We saw the whole story unfold.
Yes, ma'am. So it took like 6 years because of COVID.
That as
And
well.
so me and my stepfather sat down at the time, and we were just like, man, how could we honor her in the best way? And she also told him her vision, and we said it'd be a good idea just to reactivate it and just keep pushing her vision.
To reactivate it. I see you're wearing a shirt right now. Is that the foundation shirt?
No, this is actually the Police Unity Tour.
Ooh.
So every year, one time a year, we do a ride from Virginia. It's a bike ride from Virginia to DC. And that's
Insane.
yes. So it's a 3-day ride, a bike ride, and it's with all the fallen officers' families.
Whoa.
We all come together from all around the United States.
So it's like a it's a motorcycle. What is it? A bicycle or motorcycle?
Bicycles.
Bicycles? You guys are riding bicycles all the way from Virginia to DC?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Insane. No worries. I'll take that. That's respect. That's insane. Yeah, how long does it take? He said 3
It
days,
takes,
right?
3 days.
3 days, he said. I know. Do you guys stop at all? You have to. You
Yeah,
have to go to
we
the bathroom
take
and
breaks
eat.
at night. Yeah.
At night.
Yeah.
Wow. How does it feel to be with others that have been impacted severely?
It's better than any counseling I could have ever had.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Because I actually get to sit with people who are younger than me who experienced it.
Ooh.
So when I go, I see 4-year-olds whose mothers have been killed and murdered, same way my mother was murdered. Because it's kind of hard to relate with people who haven't been through it. As much as they'll tell you, oh, I know how you feel. I lost a dog or whatever, But when you're around people who lost it the same way, it's healing.
I get that. And I'm so happy to hear that. Did you start this or did you just join it or?
It happened every year. I just joined it just to tribute to her. And honor.
What's the name of it? Foundation, is it?
This is Police Unity Tour.
Okay, got it.
But hers is Deborah Clayton's Bridging the Gap.
Got it. And this is amazing, guys. So if you want to know more about it, please give us a call or reach out to Peace on the Streets radio show. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with a special guest. We got to pay the bills and play a few tracks. We'll be right back. R&B Quiet Storm. Peace on the Streets.
So yeah, we've been having a very deep conversation here, trying to get some details on what's going on with the foundation, our guests, and everything. We were having a behind-the-scenes talk about Mayor Ng and his priorities here in the state. And I told him I stand by my number one, regardless.
And what's that in you?
But and that's the thing, though. I love the ability to be able to have a discussion and dig into it, because I still agree that crime is a huge thing that's going on here in Orlando, in Florida, and the USA in general. So, gentlemen, let's get right back into it. Samuel Ings, tell us a little more. How can we implement a little bit of crime prevention to make it so that terrible tragedies like this don't happen anymore?
Well, thank you so much. And it's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you both tonight. And we're praying for Prince and his recovery.
Sure.
And Mimi, Inyo, you guys are the greatest. And we miss Cynthia as well.
Oh, yes.
Cynthia's a dear, dear heart to all of us. But that was a very tragic situation with the 2 officers being shot here in Orlando by a murder suspect out of Miami. And actually, that suspect had some ties to Orlando.
Okay.
And so it was a very tragic situation that the officers were shot.
Do we know what kind of connection they had with Orlando?
Well, he had lived here, and he had friends here, and
Okay.
he had connections right here.
Gotcha.
So that's why he knew so much about Orlando. And he was arrested here for other crimes in the past, too.
So he was arrested here. He knew people here. He had connections here. So he was pretty deeply involved in Orlando.
He was deeply involved in Orlando. And it was a tragic situation that those officers were shot and that they were at that time in critical condition. And so that's very serious. We didn't know whether they were going to live or whether they were going to pass away or what.
Yeah.
But thanks be to God that they lived and that they recovered from their injuries. And thanks be to God, too, for the other police officers that were out there on the street.
Yeah.
Because when their fellow officers were shot, immediately they took him to the hospital and made sure that he had good care at the hospital. So the doctors were there to jump on the situations immediately.
Right.
And that shows so much about how even our medical people are concerned about the welfare and the care of everybody, and including and especially our police officers.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. I mean, whenever you see situations like that where we expect police to be shielded, right? Because they are our line of defense as civilians. We depend on them to be able to come and, fight the bad guys, right? And whenever we have situations where the very fabric of the society that we live in, which is, protection by police, is getting destroyed and it's getting, almost pushed down and seen a little bit more casually than ever before. I'm not gonna lie. As a young man and as a slightly darker man, like I am not the biggest fan of police, right? Like I haven't been, because my experiences with them aren't always the best. But I still understand that there is a fundamental role that police serve in society. Like we need them to come help us, to protect us, and those things aren't free, right? Like we need to pay them in order to do that. We need to make sure that they're well taken care of, not just monetarily, but also as far as like mentally, and all these other services. Like it's something I advocate often is whenever, for me personally, when I think of something like defund the police, I don't mean take money away from the police and that's it. My idea of that is take responsibilities away from the police that aren't necessarily for them, right? For example, when a car breaks down on the middle of the road, why do we need to have a cop go out there and go deal with that? Something like a mental emergency where someone's just having a mental breakdown. Why do we need to send a police officer to go deal with that? Whenever someone is like, doing something that doesn't need the police, we don't need to be sending them. I feel like we put too much on police.
Yeah, we do.
Like we give them all these burdens, but then we don't give them enough care to go along with it. We don't give them the mental aid that they need, like the less responsibilities that they need. And I feel like all these things could, make the police better, make the interactions with the population better. Because like you said, like we need to be friendly with the cops and the cops need to be friendly with us. It's a two-way street. And I'm glad that you're here to open up that conversation. And as future mayor of Orlando, to better the connections that we have between the people
Woo.
and our officers.
Come on.
And you're absolutely correct. And one thing that I must say, even that police officer, when your car is disabled on the street, the police officer shows up. It's all about safety. It's about safety, making sure that that citizen is safe and protected from anybody else. And then, of course, what comes along is the tow truck or whatever, the mechanic, to do their jobs. But the police officer there is to make it a safe environment for that citizen that's disabled, as well as the other traffic that's around them.
Because they will listen. People will listen, and they will
Right.
detour, and they will go around.
And they have the lights, which brings the attention to everybody else that we need to be
That's true.
cautious. And so it's important that we have that type of effort going on with our police officers. And the other thing, too, about the police officers that got the officers to the hospital, the one good thing about that was it was quick action and quick thinking on their part. They didn't hesitate. And then so when you got those officers to the hospital and the doctors and the nurses and the attendants were able to work on them in an expedient way, it made a difference in saving the lives of those officers. Because Mimi, I was also praying for total recovery for those officers. I was praying for the police officers that were out there on the street now that have to go and find that suspect.
And are we speaking about the two officers that were shot downtown Orlando?
We're talking about the two officers that were shot downtown Orlando,
Right.
yes.
Right.
And that was important to me. that the prayers go for the officers that were injured, the officers that have to search for the suspect, and also for the officers' families that are concerned.
So what would you tell the citizens of Orlando to do for our law enforcement?
Well, we have to always engage with our law enforcement in a very positive way. The police are not your enemies. Now, like Johnny said earlier, there are some bad apples out there.
Yes.
And
There's bad apples everywhere in every occupation.
Right. And the thing that we have to do is make sure that those bad apples are taken care of through proper training.
Yes.
So that's important.
But
And
isn't there like
also
a blue
discipline.
shield, like blue shield on it? Like, is it like a blue code that officers can't tell on each other, or they can't, because that's what it is. They're afraid
But
of.
I think back in the olden days, it was really that way. And it's true to some point today. But I think more officers are being more responsible for the community. Because even when an officer is out there doing something wrong, there are officers that are stepping up.
Yes, and
they're doing the right thing.
I hope they don't have too many things that are going against them. I've had an officer from Ocoee, and he was on our show because he was fired. He was set up by I'm not going to say it. He was set up by Ocoee. And in the Ocoee police force, he was an officer for about 20 years. He started at 18 years old, so he was close to 30. And he was set up because he told on one of the lieutenants that were actually working with the drug dealers that were selling drugs here in Orlando. And when he called it out, they set him up. They set him up so bad, guys, that they had, I don't know how they did it, but they had 911 with them, sent him up to the wrong house where they said it was domestic violence. He went to the home. They said he has a gun, and the guy came to the door, and there was a shootout. Well, the guy didn't have a gun. So the guy ended up pressing charges to sue him and the police department. So now he got fired. Now he has charges against him. And he had to go fight for his life or he was going to be charged and went to prison. So they came to our show, and big shout out to attorney James Smith because he's now partnered with us. But he's the attorney that went in and helped this officer get out. He got out, not guilty. And he came on this show asking for people to write letters, to have, speak so highly of how he really patrolled the streets. He's one of the officers that was legit, honest, sincere, and really was about the people, and even called out his own lieutenant. And look what he got set up with. And this is the fear of other officers that are good, is about speaking about it, because they will be targeted by their own officers, especially the high ones in charge. So I think if there's more charges against them, and like we saw a couple of officers, and if I'm not mistaken, in the South, that was set up 3 black guys and actually did sexual harassment on them, shot one of the guys in the mouth. And he still survived, and they came out speaking about it. And now they're charging these guys, and there's 6 of them. And you know what they call them? They called it the Goon Squad. That's what they were calling them going out. So it takes so long for people to speak, and it has to be the citizens to speak. I just think there should be more safety nets for the officers that are speaking about all the officers.
And you're absolutely right. The citizens do have to speak out when they see something, when they know of something that's a problem where the officer is doing something wrong. They have to bring it up to the chief of police, and the chief of police has to act on it. He has to investigate it. And at the same time, other officers do turn in and turn on other police officers too, because they don't want the badge tarnished. And from a police executive, we want to make sure that the badge is a clean badge, because when we ask the people, if you see something, say something.
Yes.
And when we want the people to cooperate with us, the police department and the city of Orlando, we want the people to help us to be able to help the police to get rid of the crime and the bad guys that are out there in the streets.
Yes.
See, it's important to us that we do these things, and it's important to us that we have a great working relationship with our community, because sometimes, and Mimi, Inyo, I know you have seen and heard on the news, when there was a suspect running away from the police officer, and the police officer is chasing him. All of a sudden, you see this citizen jump out of his truck, stick his leg out, and trip over
I did.
the guy that's running from the police, and
One
the
guy had
police was
pizza in his
able to
hand.
come
Yes.
and put handcuffs on the guy.
That would be me.
So, Mimi, you know it works.
Yes, it does.
To do certain things as far as his duty or his duties are concerned, that it is very important that the citizens understand that he is there to help me.
Yes.
Even in cases of mental illness, when the officers go to the house and they're dealing with a mental illness patient or a mental illness person there, and no, the officers are not psychologists and psychiatrists, so they can't deal with it.
Right.
But they can tell when certain things are off,
Right.
or when certain things are wrong.
So they get trained for that?
Now, what you can do is to have those personnel that are in that field dealing with mental health to come along with the officers and help assess the situation. Because you don't want to send that civilian person into a situation with a mental illness person and all of a sudden that person goes off on the civilian.
Yes.
That's
right.
why you need the officer
But I
there
also
from
feel
a
like
protection
I
perspective.
also, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I also feel like the opposite happens too often, where the officers that aren't properly trained to deal with these situations end up escalating the situation with these mentally ill people, because it does require a high level of expertise to, one, be able to identify, and two, be able to deal with these situations.
So you think those are the bad apple officers, though?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think it's a matter of being a bad apple. I just think it's a matter of being untrained. Like, if you drop me with an autistic kid and I'm supposed to like take care of them, I don't know how to handle that situation. So I believe, I don't know, I think maybe there could be a better way to handle that.
The better way, Inyo, is the teamwork that I was trying to describe.
Right.
When you have that individual that's the psychiatrist or the psychologist
So how
or
would
the
that work?
mental
'Cause,
health
like,
counselor.
Would the cops just go together? Like, would they always?
And that's what
hang
I'm trying
out?
to say to you, but you keep interrupting me. But it's okay.
I'm sorry, I only have one
we
ear. I'm sharing.
we got love in the house. We got peace on the streets now.
That's right. Peace on the streets. We're trying to get to the same place.
Yes, we are at the same place. And I hear you loud and clear from that perspective, because it is so important. It is so important that we work together as a team, because it's that individual that needs help.
Right.
They need serious help.
Yeah, they do. They do.
And I would like to add something, if you don't mind.
Of course, yeah.
My mom was raised in Carver Shores.
Mhm.
I don't know if you're familiar with it.
No.
So the guy who murdered her, she actually gave him a ride to school a couple times
Wow.
when he was younger. So I feel like her even approaching him that day, she came in a different way because she knew he was wanted. She's like, oh, I know him from the neighborhood I grew up in. But you see how that turned out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
it's kind of, you can't never be too careful nowadays
Right,
either.
right. No, I mean, I when I said how would that work, I just mean like literally, right? Like, are all cops or certain cop units gonna just have like an assigned psychologist with them at all times, or is it based on the dispatch call, or how would you go about implementing that?
Yeah, it is based on the dispatch call, the call that goes out.
Okay.
You know, and the cop has, or the police officer has to assess the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And when you need more assistance
Yeah.
from that outside source, such as the psychologist, the counselor, you can call for that.
Okay.
And the other part, too, is a lot of times, too, the individuals, when the police officer go and assess and look and sees that person is a danger to themselves or others, they can take the individual into custody, and they don't take them to jail. They take them to the psych ward or the hospital or the psych facility.
Right.
So that's where they go. They don't go to jail.
Yeah.
And when you get into situations like the autistic kid or the deaf kid, and police are trained to watch for those kinds of things as well.
Yeah.
And not to react by pulling the gun and pulling a taser, but you
Right.
got to deal with the situation in a different way.
Yeah, you definitely do. But I feel I don't know. I feel like that doesn't happen enough. You know, I feel like there could be more of that. And again, I don't see it from a standpoint of cops are bad when they don't deal with these situations correctly. I see it more like to deal with somebody that has mental health issues. It's like years of training that you actually need in order to do that. A cop may get 100 hours, maybe, I don't know how many hours they might get for training for that, but like I don't think that's enough to be able to like properly handle these situations. So I like the idea of having that cooperation.
Yeah, you need the teamwork.
Yes, the officer and somebody that can handle those mental health emergencies that can work hand in hand. And I think that would be, a great way to do that. So if there is a way for you to be able to enact that within Orlando, I think that would be a model.
That'd be a huge
Yeah, that would be a
change.
great model for a
To,
lot
to
of
me,
places.
that's huge with me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is huge because even in your, as we talked earlier before the show,
Yeah.
about the homeless.
Yeah, the homeless people. Yeah.
From
bad.
from a crime prevention, public safety perspective, which is one of my number one essential areas that we deal with in the city of Orlando. But the homeless people, we don't want them just swept under the rug.
Right.
We don't want them to be moved and pushed from one location to another location. We want them to have some proper services. And that's where you get into the mental health kinds of issues. You get into the drug addiction kinds of issues. And those are the things that help the individual, because we want the homeless to become self-sufficient
Right.
once again.
Yes.
We want them to get into their home once again. And there are certain steps, and it's not pushing them out of the way and trying to make the streets look clean,
Right.
but at the same time, the person is hurting and needs some help.
That's true. That's true. And that is important. It's good to have that mentality, not just wanting to sweep them under the rug and, pass on the buck, if you will.
Yeah.
It's
absolutely.
definitely a tough situation to deal with, and you have our utmost support whenever it comes to that stuff.
Well, thank you so very much, because for the last 20 years, that's what's been happening with the homeless in Orlando.
Yeah,
They've been swept under the rug. And what's happening now is even more prevalent that they're being swept. Gates are being put up in areas where they used to camp out to keep them from camping in those areas. And see, and that's inhumane to me.
Inhumane.
That's inhumane. And seeing the current mayor is doing that, and he's doing that because it's election time. And he's doing that because he's fearful that the people will all of a sudden wake up. Now, see, you got to wake up, and you got to stay woke.
That's right.
That's important.
That's right.
You got to stay woke,
Yep.
because you've got to see these things that are happening and going on in the city of Orlando, and then we have to do something about it to make a better Orlando for everyone, because that's my promise.
That's right. A better Orlando for everyone.
Yeah, I see that. So I definitely want to tell our audience that just tuned in exactly who you guys are. So first of all, we have Mayor candidate Ings. He's a retired OPD for 30 years, patrolled the streets, protected the people, and especially even the two officers that went down. We spoke about that. And we are also speaking right now how you're encouraging the police force and also the community to stay hopeful and to bring them together, which is your slogan, a better Orlando for everyone. And I know, and I see it firsthand, especially because you were on the other ends, as well as, again, being now a citizen. And also our other special guest that are in the building right now is someone that was affected, by the community that actually killed his mom. And she's one of the OPD's finest, which was Lieutenant Deborah Clinton. And her son is here right now, Johnny Brinson. So to see you both together and to see how you're speaking, about it on both ends is just insane. And that's why I love even have the Enyo, because Enyo's usually the controversial guys. Can you not tell? Can you not tell?
Guilty.
But he's the streets. He's the people. Like they're saying these things legitly. We hear that. We know that. And I'm more of the one that's like in between. I get it, because I'm also, my father is an ex-NYPD and ex-retired military. So I get it. I seen it on both ends. I can imagine my friend having to go through that situation, Johnny. So, God bless your soul. And I'm so grateful that you're still bringing in her foundation and still having it survive. And just, again, explain to the audience that just tuned in, what is the foundation about? And this is taking over your mom's foundation that she created before she passed away.
Yes, ma'am. Her foundation is Bridging the Gap. So what I did, I just reactivated it and called it Deborah Clayton's Bridging the Gap.
Oh, wow.
And it's just about bringing law enforcement and the community together and just highlighting those officers who are doing their job the right way.
How can we found this foundation? Is there a website?
You can go to dcbtg.com. Again, that's dcbtg.com. Right now, we're just working with OPD on other events that we can do to bring the community together. I work closely with the neighborhood patrol units. So
Wow.
they really, she's living through a lot of people.
They must
right
love you being there.
Yeah.
They must show you so much love.
Yeah, they do.
I know. It's like a sister brotherhood, forever, for life. they're going to be there for you. What do you want to tell the people though that have some sort of animosity against police officers?
First, I just would like to give my prayers to the 2 officers who were shot, and just any way you can just support them and show them, send their family love, because a lot of people don't get that phone call, and it's like it's people who get it, but I understand what it's like having to receive phone calls like that, and you don't know if your loved one is alive or gonna make it. So I just want to send all the prayers and support to them, and I just pray everybody does the same.
That's a big deal, and that's just definitely touching people's hearts. And don't you guys go anywhere, because I want you guys to stay just a little bit longer. You okay with this?
Okay.
Yeah, just stay a little bit longer. I just want to bring in just a little bit more topics, especially you, Mr. Future Mayor. Just so much to go down the line of the changes that you want to make in Orlando. And we're so excited to have you, because we need a change, and we've been eager for this. And the young people really striving for this. That we ourselves are protesting, against everything that we're seeing that's going wrong. So thank you so much for being with us. We'll be right back on Peace on the Street. And real quick, I want to tell you both, since you're both here on the mic on air. Johnny, what do you think? I have to say this. For the families that were affected, those 2 officers that were shot here in Orlando, by being involved on the other ends, what do you want to tell the families to show support to the families that are going through that right now? What do you want to say to them? Because not all of us understand and can feel. We see it, we get it. But I want you to relate to the families that are affected of their fallen officers, of their families, their brothers, their sisters, and moms that have been killed or shot. What would you tell the families right now in Orlando that were affected by those 2 officers that got shot?
You're not alone, and if you need anybody to talk to, just reach out to me, and me and my family especially, and my prayers are with you, because I can't even say I can only imagine, but I actually know. So it's like, and then it's like I don't know him, so I would say I love you, because it's coming from a place of nobody should really experience that, so.
At all, ever. And again, can you just elaborate a little more of her foundation?
Okay, my mom's foundation is Deborah Clayton's Bridging the Gap, and you can find it at dcbtg.com, and it's just her nonprofit she created before she passed away, and it's just bridging the gap between law enforcement and the community.
And I love it, and thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
May I ask, is this the first time you've been on, or first time ever you've been on air?
No, ma'am.
And is this the first time you've been on air since the passing of your mom?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much for being out there to the community, for releasing your story. It's kind of hard to speak to someone that has been through this, because I can't, again, like you said, I can't imagine. It makes me want to cry. So when I hear these stories, it's deep, and we're so grateful for you to come out and to release how it feels, to express yourself, and to talk to the families that are affected, by something like this, especially what's going on in Orlando. There's a lot going on, Mr. Samuel B. Ings. Please relate, before you guys leave, the changes you want to make to Orlando.
Well, first of all, I have 5 key areas of improvement for the city of Orlando. And it starts with crime prevention and public safety, affordable housing, economic development, roads and infrastructure, and an inclusive Orlando. But I would say this, Mimi and Inyo, a better Orlando for everyone is my promise.
Come on.
And that means anyone who resides in Orlando, who works in Orlando, who visits in Orlando, who has family in Orlando, who goes to school in Orlando, who worships in Orlando, who has business in Orlando, you will receive the best that the city has to offer when I am mayor of the city of Orlando. So on November 7th, 2023, vote for Samuel B. Ings for mayor for the city of Orlando. And I want you to know that early voting starts October 30th through November 5th, 2023. And it begins Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and then Saturday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., and then from Sunday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And that's Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, October 30th through November 5th. And the early voting will take place now at the Supervisor of Elections office, which is located at 119 West Cayley Street in Orlando, Florida. That's 119 West Cayley Street in Orlando, Florida. And the last day to accept any campaign contributions, because I am receiving any contributions that you might have that you can give towards this campaign to help get our message out, is November 2nd, 2023 at midnight. So you can go to www.ingsfororlandomayor.com. You can check me out also on Facebook. And we're getting more stuff out to you. And do everything that you can to vote for Samuel B. Ings for mayor of the city of Orlando. And Mimi, I want to say this one last little thing.
Tell me.
And that is, over 50% of the people do not feel safe in downtown Orlando. And what that means is this incumbent mayor wants another 4 years, another 6 terms, over 20 years. He wants to come back in and still do what he calls great work. But see, his great work is not shown in the State of the City address, which was done in May, I think, March of 2023. It doesn't show about the homeless situations and the problems that we have.
Not at all.
See, you just talk about all of the glossy and great stuff, but you don't talk about the real issues that are facing the people that are on the streets in the city of Orlando that need help and need nurturing and need care. They need help to bring themselves back to self-sufficiency, and that's what I am looking to do for the citizens of Orlando. And the last thing is, when the 2 officers were shot, one medical doctor that was at the hospital, he performed surgery on them. He lives in downtown Orlando. He was so moved by this, that the 2 officers were shot, that he wanted people to know downtown Orlando is not safe. We need to do something about it. Even when you're putting a moratorium on the bars and you're keeping them closed down, that's about business. We have to protect those bar owners downtown.
Yes, we do.
You have to have the right amount of police officers to provide the safety and protection for those businesses and the people that visit in downtown Orlando.
Absolutely. I'm telling you right now, a lot of tourists don't go there. They probably heard some things about it. They don't. They go to International or something of that nature, or Sand Lake. They don't. I stopped going because of what I've been seeing.
Yeah. And we have to turn that around.
Absolutely.
Because downtown Orlando can be a great place. It can be a great place.
It's so beautiful.
It is.
And that it's so heartbreaking to see like what's going on. And I don't really know if it's the clubs itself or the crowd they're bringing into the attention. But I do think that as a city, we come together, be strong, hire an amazing mayor that can make the change when the people are asking and what the people are saying, because they're living it. They're seeing it. They're living it day in, day out. I stopped going when that young man got shot by walking through a crowd. You remember that story?
Oh, yes.
And when that 30-year-old was just getting a gown for his little girl, and he walked through a crowd, and they didn't like that he interrupted them in the middle of their circle. They yelled at him, and they shot him and killed him. Is that easy?
Right. And and that's really sad, because if you have that much hate in you
for a stranger,
you got that much hate in you.
It's just walking by.
Yeah, you don't need to be out there.
Not at all. No. And that's why we need our law enforcement out there. I tell you right now, when we see that and we see them around and we see them strong and we see the community respecting it, it's going to be a whole different level downtown. You're going to want to be down there. Yes. You're going to want to be able to celebrate and be with each other. It used to be that way.
Yes.
Yeah, it used to be. Yeah.
And
it
now
used to be that
it's changing.
way. As a matter of fact, when I was a young officer, I remember riding the bicycle in downtown Orlando, and I was in undercover clothes.
What?
Yeah, I had a cowboy hat and everything,
Man.
And it was really neat. But the bicycle, it wasn't like the bicycles that they ride today. It was like a bicycle that you go out and pick up out of Walmart or some store.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but that was really neat. And being plain clothes like that, I saw a lot of things.
Huh.
And we made a lot of difference.
I really like that.
in our community there to keep it safer.
I really
That's
like
when we
that.
had the Sears that was downtown
Wow.
Orlando. So yeah, the Pennies, J.C. Penney's,
Come on.
all that kind of stuff.
It's so beautiful downtown, guys. Let's not give up
Yeah.
on our city. It's a beautiful city, and I really, I'm not moving. I came from New York. I moved down here, and I'm staying here.
Well, we're gonna make it a better Orlando for everyone. 'Cause That's my
yes.
promise.
Thank
We're
you,
gonna do
guys.
this thing. We must do this thing.
Yes, thank you guys so much for being with us. And if you guys haven't heard his ads, definitely keep tuning in to Peace on the Streets because we air them every single Wednesday. So before I let you guys go, again, thank you guys so much for being with us. Is there anything that you guys want to say, your goodbyes, any shout outs or anything of that nature? Or again, please release the foundation and also the I think it's the organization that you're with right now. Please release them both because I'm getting question about them both.
Oh, no problem. Well, my mom's foundation she created before she passed away was Bridging the Gap, and you can find it at dcbtg.com. Again, it's dcbtg.com, and that's Deborah Clayton's Bridging the Gap.
And again, guys, this is Johnny Brinson, which is his mother was OPD's finest, Lieutenant Deborah Clayton. And I know you guys remember that story where she was murdered. If I'm not mistaken, it was in front of Walmart down here
Off of Princeton
off of Princeton.
and John Young.
Yeah, so thank you again for releasing your story, your feelings, and giving support to families that are affected by their fallen, brothers, sisters, moms, and dads that in the line of duty. Again, thank you for your services because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here safe. I am so grateful, and I tell every officer that I see, thank you for your services. Not all of them smile. I can imagine what they see every day and what they feel every day. But I'm telling you right now, they will never forget this. And when we say it, they really have their eyes like bright up, like, thank you. Just tell them that, guys. When you see one, just tell them that. Thank you for that. Because I'll tell you right now, they're going to protect you than the next guy. You're going to really rely on your people, your friends, right around the corner, those strangers. They're not going to do nothing. These guys are the ones that are going to come up in the front and going to protect you. That's what they're served for. And they're risking their lives. They sign their life away to protect you guys. So thank you so much for being with us. And thank you to your mom. We appreciate her services. And God bless.
And Mimi, I want to say to his mom, Lieutenant Deborah Clayton,
Yes.
she used to work for me.
Really?
She used to work for me.
So you know her personally?
I know her personally. And I know
Wow.
when she was sergeant, she would come to me and she'd say, please, please, please help me. I want to be lieutenant.
No way.
I want to be lieutenant. And, and I spoke to the chief of police, and that was Mina at that time, who is the
Got it.
sheriff now.
Got it.
But the incident occurred, and then he posthumously promoted her to lieutenant.
Wow.
And that needed to happen because it showed that Orlando Police Department truly cared for her.
Come on.
And they
Come on.
stood with her. And that was the most powerful thing that could happen at that time.
Because
And
they know
then
her heart is.
It honored her, it honored her family, it honored the Orlando Police Department, and it honored the community of the city of Orlando.
Oof. That's passion.
That is passion.
That's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
And look how that unfolded. Thank you guys so much for being with us on Peace on the Streets Radio.
Pleasure.
I'm sorry that I had you here longer than expected.
No, it's all of the whole
Come on.
booth.
God, I'm just going to say, God knows what he's doing, and he
Yes,
brought
he
us all
does.
together. And again, if it wasn't for Prince of the South, we wouldn't be here. So we appreciate him. We appreciate my brothers. We've been together for about 4 years and winning 3 Stellar Awards in a row. Come on.
All right.
Thank you guys. More to come. You guys, again, you will be back, I hope, and more to release and more to talk about to serve the community. Guys, Peace on the Streets Radio. Don't you go anywhere. There's more to come.
All this heat, man. That's all it was. He got a little heat wave.
I love it. And you was out here dancing. We were getting along. And we were here like sharing videos and doing
I know,
little
right?
behind the scenes. We killed it.
It was awesome. It was a good time.
We
That's
killed
what
it.
happens when you get some, new century music out here. It gets a little bit more crank.
Just a little bit, just a tad bit.
Just a tad bit. Just a little bit. It was fun though. Yeah, I was getting some high school memories with a couple of those
What?
tracks.
Well, MC Hammer, too legit. Too legit. I was, remember my fingers? Too legit with your hands? I was doing all that.
All I needed was my typewriter pants, and I was good to go.
Look, here's some facts about MC Hammer. If you guys don't know, he's originally from Virginia, and he actually was in gangs in the street, hardcore, that the music industry homies took him out of the streets and had him save his life was the music industry.
Yeah, it's a lot of them like that too.
Yes, there is.
DJ Quick was one of them too.
Right.
So a lot of people don't know about that. A lot of people don't know about that.
And a lot of people don't know
but-
about MC Hammer because they ended up to say, oh, he's soft with the music he was doing and the dance music. Actually, he was one of the hardest core rappers in the game that actually lived that lifestyle in the game.
You can tell he was hardcore by the abs he had
I can tell by how he spoke in interviews.
and the way he
That had
stood.
Seriously, he was in such bad gangs that he would have died. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In there, so that's a testimony.
I would have
and-
never believed that. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like,
I know it.
Because he doesn't seem like the guy.
Not at all.
Not at all. But yeah, there he is.
He said music saved his life and his homies. It's kind of like the story of DMX behind the scenes. You know,
Right.
DMX was the same thing. He was out in the streets at 14 years old. His first time smoking crack was 14 years old.
Right.
And it was because on the streets his mom kicked him out. I'm not sure why, but I know he always had that against her, that he felt abandoned.
Dog eat dog mentality.
And
that-
yes.
and by any means necessary, you got to find a way to survive.
Yep.
And he-
yep.
That's
And-
all it was.
I tell you though, when you
that.
put a baby in the street, they're gonna eat you, they're gonna swallow you up and spit you out, and that's what they did to him. It was a sad story because it took his whole entire adult life to actually forgive his mom. And towards the end of his life, she came in and some sort of therapist thing on TV, and that's how she said sorry. So it was crazy, but his first time was crack. You know why? Because the people in the streets smoking weed, they laced it with crack because that's what they do. Gave it to him, and he destroyed his life. For the rest of his life, he had to battle against drug addiction for his whole entire. It probably actually killed him because he died of a heart attack.
Bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that crack will do that to you. You
Yeah,
know what I
and
mean?
forever he dealt with it. He says it in his music.
Yeah, it's organ damage that you're getting caused long term.
For
It's
so
such a
he's
bad one.
14. Of course, it could creep up on you. He didn't make it. He made it to 50 years old. You know, after that, but the industry saved him as well. And he always spoke about not Bad Boy, but the Locks. They saved him. They never left his side, and so he always had them in his videos. He spoke about it. That's why for his funeral, it was performed in New York, and it was at a stadium. And who performed his music was the Locks. And they came on stage because those were the ones that were by his side the whole time. They grabbed him out. They helped him. Therapy. They helped him survive. You know, pretty much. But they all knew it. It was a battle for life.
That's wild.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
speaking of New York,
Yeah.
how about New York's golden child, Donald Trump? Huh? Is he going to jail or what? Come
do
on.
you really think he's gonna get it this time?
Gosh, you know, if you would have asked me last week, I would have been like, nah, no way. But man, I don't know. They keep ramping it up, more and more charges.
Right.
He's got.
Wait, it's not just in one state. but
Right.
It's in several states that he's getting charged.
Yeah.
From DC to Georgia, from Georgia to Cal. Like,
They're hitting him
he
with
just
the
hit
RICO
everywhere.
charges, bro.
Right.
Those RICO charges
Bro.
are serious. That's what they used to bring down Al Capone. All right, like they
Right.
use that for like mafias, you know, like big organized crime syndicates and stuff like that. Georgia's bringing those cases up. And I think somebody else is also bringing the cases up, right? And we were talking about the president can pardon himself. You know, he could do that.
But he's not the president.
But also, yeah, but he could win. But also, you can't pardon yourself from state crimes. And the governor of Georgia can't pardon him either because Georgia has like some checks and balances for the pardoning of the governor. So it's not just the governor. Some other people got to agree with it along with him.
Whoa.
So he can't really get pardoned from that. You know what I mean? And if they're going to bring up all these cases, they got to lock him up. Otherwise, what are we doing all this for? You know what I mean? I don't.
I
like,
thought he would have
Is
been
it-
locked up a long time ago.
Will it be fair with all the other things that a lot of other people do across this country, that you see all the rules and regulations that have been broken by former president at that time as the president not to go to jail? How would that be a look for the rest of the country?
Better late than never, I say. That's my opinion. You know, we might as well start at some point. 'Cause
Right.
the right answer isn't to just let them do whatever they want, right? Like that's not the right
Because
answer.
if that's the case, everybody is going to go into politics.
Yeah, you think so?
I think everybody would go into politics. I would,
Why?
because I know I can get off.
Yeah. They all do,
I mean,
pretty much.
But you got to be the president to get off, bro.
So
You
I
know
gotta
what
make it
mean?
all the way up
You got to
here.
make it all the way
I
up
did-
to get off.
Y'all can just give me those counts.
It would be
I'll take
crazy.
it.
Imagine him running. Imagine him being president from jail.
You know,
Or house
is
arrest.
this possible?
Yeah,
Is it really?
it really is.
America
yeah.
would do that.
Yeah, he
A
could.
press conference in front of my house because I'm on house arrest.
They would do that.
America, I love you.
I love you.
Thank you for the vote. I'll get out soon to see you, but
In the meantime,
this is what you need to do.
has he announced a VP?
Right.
I don't think so, right? He doesn't have a.
He
a
probably
VP
doing it on the
pick or
Zoom call.
anything. It'd be another inmate. This is Jerome.
Yeah.
He's gonna be my VP.
Right. It will be something like that. I know that he's so powerful, apparently, that
Oh my
many
God.
are scared of him. People
Oh,
are
yeah.
frightened of
People
him.
are terrified of him.
Yeah,
I get it.
inmate 01153733324.
He's
That's
a
my,
VP.
that's the VP.
That's a VP right there.
So what name we supposed to call him? 0031155.
Can you really be president in jail?
Yeah, he can. Yeah, the Constitution does allow it. It is allowed. Yeah, you can be president from anywhere, really. You don't have. You
Really?
don't even have to be residing in the United States to be president. Like you got to be born here, but you don't have
Right.
to be residing.
And you have to be
Like,
over
you can-
30.
yeah, like you can be born here, all those little things, and then you could just duck off to Canada.
He might change the game.
And just be like, yeah, we're out here in Mar-a-Lago, Canada, where
Yes.
the new presidential palace.
I don't put it past him because the things that he does, he's still got fans, and
I know.
he smacks people in the face. He
Bro, he's
tells you what's up, and they're still like,
Yeah.
"We love you."
Yeah, absolutely. He's winning the Republican race right now.
Yes, he is.
Nobody's even close.
What a bunch of are we bums in America?
I'm not Republican, so I'm gonna.
I mean, for those that are, though,
Shoot.
look at the possibility and the strong possibility he got with everybody else as running for Republican.
that's not.
it's
that's
it's just
crazy.
like, who's it going against?
That's so crazy.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, he's up against DeSantis. That's his main opponent.
This is not good.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Why do we get stuck with these guys? And it's why? Why does nobody else make it that far? Why?
It's the corruption, baby. You know what
That's
I mean?
what it is.
It's
And
corruption out here.
we're
Yeah. 'cause,
screwed.
Like there's like this lady, Marjorie Taylor Greene. She ran for president last time, and if you go on TikTok and stuff, like she's very popular on TikTok. She polls almost at 10%, but I don't think she's been like mentioned once in the news.
No,
Like most people don't even know she's running.
not at all.
Like last time she was running, they called her the crazy crystal lady.
I'll take her.
Because you know what I mean.
I'll take her before these guys.
Yeah, me too. You know,
Yeah.
it's especially like Biden too. He's so old and like barely hanging in there. Trump is a criminal, and DeSantis has got to be one of the least likable people of all time.
Now I see it.
That's about right now. Yeah.
Eh,
Listen,
man.
here you
Dictatorship
have
going on.
Ron
Sheesh.
DeSantis, of course, Donald Trump,
Yep.
Nikki Haley,
Yep.
Mike Pence.
Pants.
Pence is running.
Yeah, he's running.
He's not going nowhere.
Tim Scott, Ted Cruz was ruled out.
Wow.
Good.
Ryan Binkley,
Uh,
Doug Burgum.
Wow.
Yeah, Doug Burgum.
He ain't going nowhere either. Yeah,
Chris Christie.
Yeah, Chris Christie.
Oh,
Chris
goodness
Christie's
gracious.
funny guy. He is a funny
He
dude.
is.
I like him. Like last time he was running, he was throwing some haymakers.
Yeah.
Right.
He was going ham
Yeah,
on it.
he's hilarious.
And he's going in on Trump
He's
right now.
definitely an East Coast cat.
Asha Hutchison, Perry Johnson.
Oh my goodness.
I don't even know how to say this one. Vivek Ramawamzi, franchise Zuris.
This can't be real, Chris.
Oh, Vivek, I gotta say, man, Vivek.
Yeah, Vivek. That's how you say it.
Yeah,
Vivek.
Vivek. He is, I believe, Indian American, and he is just playing the pick me model minority card so hard.
Got it.
He's riding for Trump. He's riding that meat like his life depend on it right now. He's like everything Trump does is right, and everyone's just out to get him. And he's just trying to play that card, right? Like, oh, I'm brown, but I agree with Trump. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they're giving him a little boost because of that. They're digging that.
It's a possibility of somebody by the name of Mike Rogers.
I don't even know who that is.
Unlikely Greg Abbott and Christy
Abbott?
Abbott.
Bro, Abbott is a politician that thinks he's like a redneck, even though he's always rich. He did this stupid commercial where in part of it, he had his pickup truck. He's like, I have a really big pickup truck so I can round up
I
illegal
saw that,
immigrants. I was like, huh? Dude, what did you say? Yeah, I hate that guy.
What?
That's the Republican Party for you, though.
That's even worse.
That's
So
that's
I
who
say
you
let's
got.
go for a woman this year.
Man.
Let's go for a woman.
That was the Republican side. Do you have the list for who's running on the Democrats?
Okay, so if I go on the Democratic side of the party, of course you have your current president now, which is Joe Biden. We got, I don't know how Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah.
I know he was in,
Yep.
and he was trying to get some stuff going.
Yep. Yeah, he's in there.
And
He's basically a
that-
Republican. I don't know why he's
Yeah,
running as
and
a
that's all
Democrat.
that I see as of right now.
That's all that. Okay, see, that's what I'm talking about. Because Marjorie Taylor Greene is also running.
Marianne Williamson.
Yeah, Marianne Williamson. She's also running in there. Yep.
We gotta shoot for these ladies. Let's make a change.
Yeah, Marianne Willis. Yeah, she's cool. She's the one that I've been talking about. Like that they call her the crazy crystal.
Yeah,
lady.
just those three. So you got Marianne Williamson, Robert F. Kennedy, and current President Joe Biden. And I'm kind of nervous for Joe.
Why you say this?
I don't know. He's not the same Joe as the vice president.
Mm-hmm.
Time changed over seasons kick in.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, like some of the slip and falls, and I think he just kind of forget where he at sometimes.
Ugh.
Yeah. No, you ain't lying, bro.
We have to have a
You
cap
ain't
too,
lying.
as well as being too old.
100%.
You know, what I mean, just if you could retire at 65, you can't be a president.
Come on now. Come on.
Yeah,
now.
but I mean, if you look at us, 50 is the new 40 and 60 is the new 50.
Chris, we're not gonna do this. The
but
retirement
I'm
at
just-
65 is new 50.
But it's
That's too
there
much.
though, because
No,
like
they,
I see,
they still don't feel me. My parents don't feel me. They're in their 60s.
Right,
So when I speak
right.
about even music, they're like, you
Yeah,
know, be
yeah,
alone. And so it's not
I'm
gonna work.
looking at T.O., who out here still catching balls. I'm out here looking at T.O., who's still running a 4.5 flat, going down the stretch at 52 years old, catching balls.
I mean,
I hear that.
52 is different.
52 is
though.
different. I agree.
Like, but if you're
That's
70,
a retirement age.
but 70, bro.
If America
man.
retires 65, it's over.
Yeah, I would say I'll give you 65.
If you're no longer driving, you can't be the president.
That's facts.
That's in the 80s for sure.
That's definitely
Yeah,
facts.
We're just saying like that.
Can Biden
100%.
drive? Probably not.
I mean, I don't think
Why
he
should he,
has in
though?
a long time.
My grandpa,
yeah.
they took my grandpa's license away. He's still alive.
Oh,
God bless his soul.
no.
Grandpa's 86 years old. And they took it
Oh.
away at 85,
Wow.
84. And they still were going to let him drive.
Right.
We decided to take it away because we just knew that he wasn't,
That's a
like,
good idea.
he couldn't stop fast enough. He couldn't move fast enough. So we're like, no more, Grandpa. He's still like, I'm going to still get it back. We're like, we say, no, Grandpa, you okay?
We'll drive you, bro. We'll drive you. You did your time.
Yeah.
You did your time. We got you. Now, America's definitely a mess with our politicians. We had that older lady that's Dianne Feinstein. Dianne Feinstein, I feel bad for her. Somebody needs to go help her. All right? She is being held captive. Okay?
Whoa.
Like, it is bad because she's like 90, 91.
What?
Yeah, and she is a Supreme Court justice. or
Something
Are you
like that.
serious?
something.
Yeah.
I don't think she's a Supreme Court justice. I don't think that's what that is. But she's something very.
But she a high judge.
She a very high.
She's still
important-
serving?
Yeah, she's a very high important.
Guys, 90
And
years old,
Her daughter has power of attorney over her,
and she's still serving?
and she's still serving.
And you got someone that has to, like,
She-
help you and
she is-
assist your
she is-
decisions?
She's the third most powerful woman in America.
Wow.
First is our Vice President Kamala Harris. Second is
Wow.
Nancy Pelosi, and then it's her.
Interesting.
So she is the third most powerful person in America, woman in America, and she doesn't have power of attorney over herself.
This
Her
sounds
daughter
ridiculous.
has it.
What about the Carter family?
What about
Hmm.
him?
Like, aren't they? Aren't they the eldest and the oldest and most powerful right now? The former president and first lady.
Well, we're talking about like active members of the government.
Oh, okay.
You know, so
I
like,
can't believe you're serving as a judge at 90 years old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's
So
crazy.
ju-
She had a fall the
It's
other day.
ridiculous.
She had to go to the hospital. They asked her about, hey, how do you feel coming back from your absence? Because she had to leave for like a few months, and she was like, I've been here the whole time. She forgot that she left. For
This sounds
months.
ridiculous.
It's bad. You should look it up. It's sad.
Where's the
It's-
cap on this,
It's
you know?
literally sad. And the what makes it disgusting is that everyone pretty much understands that Nancy Pelosi is just keeping her there so
Hmm.
that she can push for the next person to take over her position to be the one that she wants.
Got it.
Because if she leaves before she gets that other person in there, she doesn't
That's
get
what this
her
is about.
pick. But that's what it's about.
That's what it's about.
She's just keeping her there so she can get
Like
the
it's
pick
a
that she
hostage.
wants. Yeah,
Interesting.
she's hostage in there. I'm like, help her. Somebody please
I'm
go
sure she
help
wants to
her,
stop
man.
working.
I don't think she knows.
I look at it like some head coaches of football. They'll never stop coaching. Because if they stop coaching, they feel like their life is over.
I hear you
Yeah,
on
but
that.
brother,
But
she-
90 years old, I'm sure you're tired and
with
want
the
to stop.
power of attorney over to her daughter.
It's a wrap. If it's like that, it's a wrap.
That's a wrap,
And you're
bro.
serving us?
That's wild. Like that's on a different level.
It sounds ridiculous.
Bro, they had to tell her you need to say I if you agree. It's like, bro, what do you mean?
Oh,
like, it's that bad. It's bad.
Auntie,
I.
Repeat after me. I.
Huh?
Don't forget. Aye.
Huh? I. Huh?
Gotta be an age cap. It's just
It's
like how it is
brutal.
an age to start this. It's gotta be an age to end it.
Yeah, it's brutal, man.
Don't get it.
I feel like it should be illegal to have her out there.
Yeah,
But-
I agree. That's
but,
abuse.
that is.
That's elderly abuse.
That
right?
is.
But hey, listen. Let's hope for a brighter future. And we're
Amen.
gonna start with Samuel B. Ings,
Come on.
the next mayor of Orlando.
And I'm running for mayor of the United States of America.
Mayor.
Of the United States
You
of
got
America.
my vote. I'm
Right.
running for governor of the United States
The
of
United-
America.
That's it. We get into politics.
We can.
I'll take any
if-
politics.
If that's a job that we can keep forever,
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
I-
forever.
I'm going there.
I
Word
pardon
up.
you. You pardon me.
Right,
We in
We
it,
good.
bro.
We can
in
keep
exactly
it.
that.
we can have a pardon party all day.
That's exactly what it is.
Oh
It's
my gosh. Yo, fam, it is time to wrap this party up.
I know,
Come
right?
It was a
on.
great show. Prince, we miss you so much, brother.
Yes.
We hope you feel better.
We're so glad you're getting some rest because you must.
Absolutely.
He's always working.
Hey, and a great conversation with Samuel B. Ings and
Yes.
our other guests as well.
Yes, Johnny.
Johnny.
Yeah, we
and
appreciate
the
him.
association. Terrible
Johnny
story.
Brinson.
With what happened
With
to
his mom, Lieutenant Deborah Clayton.
brutal.
Yeah, it's actually I remember this story just like everybody does. You know, it was a long-lasting story. This guy was hiding all over the place for quite some
Yeah.
time. So, and originally he got arrested real quick because he killed his baby's mom. She actually was pregnant. Yeah, she was in her 20s. Just saying. So, guys, we're wrapping it up. Guess what? The saddest thing is wasted talent. Don't waste the gift that God has given you. Go full force and never let fear or intimidation stop you.
Buenas
Buenas noches.
noches.
We love you, Orlando. Chris Shaw.
Thank you,
You
Chris.
know.
You're the
We
best.
appreciate you. Thank you so much for substituting for Prince of the South, guys. We'll be
Yes,
back
yeah.
next Wednesday for Peace on the Streets radio show. Tune in every Wednesday, 9 to 12 a.m. Eastern Time on WOKB. And